possible. So, welcome to day three of phase two. Now, we're calling this phase two because we're still talking about how to go from start to finish. So, phase one, we just talked a little bit about what it means to be stuck, why you're stuck. But this time around, we went deeper. We identified someone that is stuck as someone that procrastinates, that knows what they should be doing, but they don't do it. And we said there are six different types of people yesterday: the time strapped achievers, those ones that don't have time to get things done. We also have the directionless dreamers, they lack clarity, they're everywhere but nowhere. The overwhelmed multitaskers, they're multitasking. And I'll tell you where I fall in. The easily distracted starters, they start, they finish, they don't finish, they are easily distracted. The fickle wanderers and the paralyzed perfectionists. So there are different types of people that get stuck. Today, we're moving forward to something else, and that's going to be a very practical session. I just want to confirm if my audio is working. How is the audio? Because do you know what? Yesterday, I was live and I was muted. So, for those that listened for the first 8 minutes and left yesterday, I apologize. I did not know I was muted. So, please let me know in the chat. Instagram, how is the audio? Facebook, LinkedIn, and other platforms. How is the audio? Is the audio good? Can we proceed? Let me know, please, so that I can get started with today's episode. So, I've just done a brief recap of what we've discussed, which is still about how to get unstuck. Now, why are we talking about this topic especially? We're talking about the topic on getting unstuck because most people have the desire to do good. After school, they wish to further their education, wish to improve themselves. Some people want to write books, some people want to start businesses. There are loads of things that people want to do, but they just find themselves unable to do it. Why is this the case? And after we've identified the case, what is the solution? Is it enough to say this is the reason you are not doing what you should be doing? This is the reason you are procrastinating? No, we don't just want to highlight the reasons, we want to profile solutions. So in phase two, we're going to be going a lot deeper, identifying what habits that are preventing you from succeeding, and then providing solutions. But as usual, please stream yet people. Thank you, Gloria. Gloria said the audio is fine. So yes, and Instagram can also see that. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Gloria. So let's continue. Phase two, we're looking at current habits. What are the things that you're doing that is preventing you from functioning at full capacity? You know you can do well, you know you can do better, but there's still something and you can't place your finger on it. Today, you're going to take a quiz. So, we're going to assess your productivity because this is what I want you to do now. And everyone, you're going to be giving me your responses in the chat. I want you to reflect on your daily habits and routines because I will ask a couple of questions. And if you find yourself multitasking or do you find yourself multitasking or staying laser focused when it comes to doing specific tasks? Let me know in the comments before we start the quiz. So, when you are working daily, do you find yourself multitasking or you're laser focused when it comes to working? Thank you, Tobe Chukwu. Tobe said the audio is fantastic. Awesome. So, if we are able to answer the question, the quiz today is kind of simple, easy, and it will help you understand where you are and how you can make changes. I'm going to exit full screen because it seems to be cutting a couple of things off the screen that I don't want to be caught. So we are going to make a little adjustment as we go. All right. Now, for this productivity game, we're going to do it in a simple way. There are three options: A, B, C. The aim for you to is to answer where you fall in, find out where you fall in, and then we can now make changes. Remember, we're assessing why you're not able to do certain things. Why do you procrastinate? Why is it that you struggle to stay on track? You start goals, you abandon them. Are you the perfectionist? Are you a fickle wanderer? Are you a fickle starter? Where do you fall? So you can write your answers in the chat or you can just table them. Remember, There are 10 questions A, B, C. And the aim is not just to come and talk to us about habits. We've talked to you already about habits. Everybody knows that you shouldn't be doing certain things and you should be doing certain things. So let's stop talking and start asking ourselves questions and be honest. How do you handle distraction during work or study sessions? Are you the type that A, easily gets distracted and you find it challenging to refocus? B, you can manage distractions and get back to on track relatively quickly? Or C, you really get distracted and stay focused on task? Why are we asking these questions? We want to know your habits that are preventing you from not achieving the goals that you want to achieve. So answer A, B, C, because every question has a score. And when you table them together, you would know where you stand. The aim is not just to teach us about habits, but to find out where we are and then provide solutions on what we can do to move forward. If you are done with question one, let me know and then I'll move to question two. Hi, Fumi, welcome back. We've not spoken since you came back. All right, question two. Question one is about distraction. How do you handle distraction? And you may sometimes, for some people, it may be, I don't get distracted when it comes to doing certain tasks, but when it comes to doing some things, when it comes to work, I get distracted. When it comes to studying, I don't get distracted. It could be different for everybody. And now let's look at your prioritization. Remember, we've talked about the power of monotasking. We've talked about building good habits. Now let's see, how do you prioritize after all the sessions that we've had? How do you prioritize tasks on your to-do list? Where do you fall? Remember, it's where you are currently, not where you wish you were. So you're answering these questions. We're starting with a reflection exercise so you can understand the conversation we're about to have. Number one, so A says, I struggle to prioritize and often feel overwhelmed with the number of tasks. B, I prioritize tasks based on urgency, but sometimes I miss deadlines. C, I effectively prioritize tasks and I am good at meeting deadlines. Where do you fall? A, B, or C? Like I said, note your answers somewhere. Note them somewhere because you're going to calculate them and tell me where you fall at the end of this. Now let's go to the next one. How do you approach multitasking? Do you frequently multitask, but it often leads to lower productivity and more mistakes? That's A. B, you try to multitask occasionally, but you prefer focusing on one task at a time, what we refer to as monotasking. B or C, you already multitask and prioritize single tasks for better results. Where do you fall? A, B, or C? That is. So I'll give you a couple of seconds and then we move to the next question. Esther says A. I wonder which one she's saying A for. I'm going to take the responses off so that you can see what I am sharing. So we're sharing on other platforms also, so I was just checking on them. Question is this: how do you track your progress on long-term goals and projects? Remember, sometimes you're working on short-term goals, you ignore the long-term goals. Are you the one that does that? If you the options are A, I often lose track of progress and struggle to measure success. B, I use some tracking methods, but I could be more consistent. Or C, I have a reliable system to track progress and stay accountable. So those are the options. Now, why are we doing this quiz? We've talked about procrastination, we've talked about having good habits. Now it's time to assess where you are now, not where you wish you were. When you're answering these questions, please be honest. Don't lie to yourself. State where you are, because the only way to make progress and start working on other goals or other things that you want to work on is if you are able to honestly give feedback to yourself if no one else is giving you feedback. And how do you handle interruptions or unexpected changes to your schedule? The first option is A, I find it challenging to adapt to changes and it disrupts my productivity. Then B, I can adapt to minor interruptions but struggle with significant changes. C, I handle interruptions and changes with flexibility and ease. Where do you fall? A, B, or C? How do you handle interruptions or unexpected changes to your schedule? And if I'm going too fast, please let me know. A, you find it challenging to adapt to changes and it disrupts your productivity. Sometimes it could be like that. So if it's not all the time and once in a while, then you can adapt. So you take B. I can adapt to minor interruptions but struggle with significant changes, or I handle interruptions with and changes with flexibility and ease. Where do you fall in this category? All right. The next question is question 6. How do you handle time management and staying on schedule? A, I frequently run behind schedule and struggle to manage my time effectively. B, I can stick to a schedule most of the time, but occasionally disruptions occur. C, I am excellent at managing my time and adhering to schedules. Now, even if you don't want to share your options with me, having that honest reflection gives you the opportunity to actually think of a way to get new habits and change the way you get things done. Then, how do you approach tackling challenging tasks or projects? A, I often procrastinate and avoid challenging tasks. B, I can handle some challenging tasks, but I may procrastinate on others. C, I tackle challenges head on and enjoy solving complex problems. How do you approach tackling challenging tasks or projects? So, where do you fall? A, B, or C? Do you A, often procrastinate and avoid starting challenging tasks? B, you can handle some challenging tasks, but you may procrastinate on others? Or C, you tackle challenging tasks head on and enjoy solving complex problems. So, for those just joining us today, we started with the quiz because we want to find out where we are. It's not every time we come and then teach or have a conversation. Sometimes it's good for us to have these reflective exercises so we know exactly where we are. Question 8. How do you handle stress and pressure in a fast paced environment? A, I feel overwhelmed and stressed, which impacts my performance. B, I can manage stress to some extent, but it affects my productivity. Or C, I handle stress well and maintain productivity under pressure. If your answer is C, we need to see because you're a star. All right. Question 9. I don't know if I'm moving too fast. Like I said, if I am, let me know. If I am moving too fast, let me know. Question 9. How do you seek feedback or support to improve your productivity? I avoid seeking feedback or support, fearing criticism or judgment. I seek feedback occasionally, but I could be more proactive. I actively seek feedback and support to enhance my productivity. So you've got A, B, and C there. And we're going to come back to these questions one after the other and address them properly. And the last question is just 10 questions today, not to worry. Question 10. How often do you celebrate your achievements no matter how small? A, I rarely celebrate my achievements or downplay their significance. B, I acknowledge achievements occasionally, but I could do it more often. Or C, I regularly celebrate my achievements and use them as motivation. So those are the 10 questions. We've got question 1 to 10. And now let's start collating the results and I'll tell you how you're going to do that. Now, if you answered A to any question, give yourself 1 point. For each A, you get 1 point. If your answers were B's, 2 points. And if your answers were mostly C's, 3 points, even if you have one C. So if you have one A, five C's, it will be 3 times 5, 15, plus 1, 16, and the rest B's. That's how you calculate it. And when you're done calculating, let me know so that I can let you um do the other parts to know where you fall in. But I will just say this while we are calculating. The reason we are identifying these productivity gaps or habits or things that steal your attention is so that you can plug these holes and become more productive. Productivity is not about doing more, but it's about your ability to leverage your skills and resources. It's about leveraging what you have to get what you want. And sometimes we are not able to leverage our skills and resources because we are not able to manage our time and we do not respect time. We do not have good work habits in the first phase, we talked about attitude to work, procrastination, your work habits, and the things that you do daily. Because sometimes when people say, "Oh, I'm a night owl," or "I will do this later," and when we keep on postponing things and pushing things to later, we don't get results. So that's why we are doing this quiz. Please let me know if you are done. Esther, let me know if you are done so that I can now say the scores. So if you scored between 10 to 18, there are significant productivity gaps that we need to address. And my suggestion to you after you're done with this is consider exploring strategies to improve productivity in specific areas first. Start small and then build up, because it will have shown you the areas that you're scoring low and that you need to improve. If you scored 19 to 26, you have some productivity habits, but there is room for growth. Identify areas of improvement and focus on enhancing your productivity. However, if you scored 27 to 30 over 30, you have a strong foundation for productivity and it's good to keep it working. But one thing I want you to understand, that productivity is not a destination. Time management is not a destination. It's a journey. It's something that you improve. So as we're on this self-improvement journey, the problem we have is that we think it's one final destination, and when we get there, everything will be resolved. We need to start doing things daily. It's the little things we do daily that improve us or help us become the best versions of ourselves. So if we go through the questions in this game, the first one talked about handling distractions. So let's talk about distractions a little bit. We've talked about it in the past, but let's talk about this a little bit more. What we identified in phase one was simply this: distractions cannot be completely eliminated, but they can be managed. There are internal distractions and there are external distractions. So, if you're someone that easily gets distracted and finds it challenging to refocus, if you don't know your distractions and you don't know your triggers, you are going to always fall under that category of getting distracted and then struggling to refocus. Let me know if this is you. Once a slight thing distracts you or prevents you from doing what you're doing, you just can't go back to it. I used to be like that in uni. Once I get a little distraction or the noise is this, as a perfectionist, I can't focus, I can't study. I've talked about it in my prayer life that once my playlist wasn't ready, I just couldn't get back into that place of prayer. It could be something different. But what we have to understand is it can be managed. It may not be eliminated completely. How do you manage distractions? If your phone is your distraction and you know that that email dropping, that notification coming on your phone is going to distract you and you will want to check, then put your phone on do not disturb. So those are electronic distractions that you can manage. But there are other distractions. When it comes to building good habits and things, is what we do consistently that helps us improve. So if we are able to identify what's preventing us from focusing, we're able to manage it and not completely eliminate it. And if you really get distracted and you stay focused and you've built your mind, fantastic. But if you can manage distractions, remember it cannot be eliminated, and get find a way to get back on track. Start small. It may be challenging at first. Don't try and do everything all overnight. I'm not going to spend too much time on your list building because we've talked about this before. Not every task has the same weight. So, if for this answer your answer was A, you need to revisit that video on list building. When you're creating your list, note for the day, don't make your to-do list so long that it doesn't give you the opportunity to grow. One good habit that you can have is having a minimal to-do list with just like 3 to 5 things on it, and those 3 to 5 things that you're going to do for the day, some of them are major things, some of them are minor things, some of them require maximum attention, some of them require minimum attention. So it's just one activity, if you're an entrepreneur, that requires maximum attention that you should be attending to. If not, you're going to be spreading yourself too thin and you won't get the results that you want to achieve. But when it comes to multitasking, our motto here is no more multitasking but monotasking. We monotask. We focus on one task till it's complete. So we are like a stamp. You stick to the surface of the envelope until you get to your destination. Just think about it from that perspective. So yes, we understand that multitasking is something that is preached and celebrated. But if you look back at the task you've done when you multitask, sometimes you don't give it your best work, especially when it's work that requires maximum attention. Remember, there are three types of tasks on your to-do list: maximum attention task, medium attention task, and mini attention task. Your maximum attention task, you can't drive and read at the same time or write at the same time. You will need to focus on one. So when it's something that requires deep work, something that requires your intellectual property, something that requires full concentration that you can't delegate, we regard that as a maximum attention task. And the thing is, we don't divide our attention when we are doing that task. Most times when we're working on goals, we forget that we're working on certain goals. So, how do you ensure that you do not forget the goal that you're working on when life gets busy? Does anybody have an idea what they do? You have a process for tracking progress, and do you have a process for measuring your success? So when it comes to goal setting, we know we have long-term goals and short-term goals. However, life gets in the way. You get busy. So you started the year with this goal in mind of what you wanted to do, but somewhere along the line you got distracted. But because you were not going and reflecting on your goals consistently, you abandoned certain goals. It may be writing a book, it may be building something, it may be something as simple as praying. You want to build a intentional prayer life, but something happened and you got distracted. So how do you track your progress on long-term goals on projects? The way you track them is by having regular meetings with yourself. Maybe with your weekly meetings or your daily meetings, you don't do this, but we recommend three different meetings: your daily reflection, your weekly progress, and then your monthly review. So you are able to track the progress of the goals that you're working on. So you may track your task daily, you may track your goals, your projects weekly, and then your goals monthly, but have a system that works for you. So we talk about it going being about going beyond goal setting. So how do you plug these things so that you ensure that some goals don't go missing? It's breaking them down into action steps and tracking them down, having a system. It doesn't have to be a complex system. I'm not asking you to buy my planner or journal. I'm not asking you to download a new app. I'm asking you to just take pen to paper and track these things. Have your monthly projects on your goal list, work on them. When you've worked on them, find out how you did on each goal at the end of the month. That's the only way to track it. Long-term goals could be long-term, but there may be one aspect of that long-term goal that you can do every month, no matter how little it is, that helps you work towards the long-term goal. So that's what I would say about this. Now, when it comes to interruptions and changes to my schedule, I am more flexible than I ever was before. Some people find it challenging to adapt to changes. That's where I used to be. And once you disrupt my productivity, I just could this thing. But I'm the queen of making things up as I go right now. So I handle the interruptions like a boss right now. Before I wasn't well with it. When it comes to my team, I've realized that okay, their interruptions may be impacting me, so I've gotten somebody involved. Always think of a way out. Don't abandon goals completely. Pause. Don't stop. Pause and reflect. That's where your reflection exercises come. And when you have the room to give yourself opportunity to be flexible and not blame yourself or take yourself too serious, you'll be able to handle unexpected changes to your schedule. Because the truth is, sometimes things can happen. COVID affected so many people's schedule. What would they have done if they are like, it must go the way I want it to go? It doesn't always have to be. Okay, now show of hands, and I just want you to raise your hands or just write in the chat. How many people are good when it comes to time management and staying on schedule? You don't miss deadlines. You have a deadline and you meet it. You have a deadline and you meet it. How many people are fantastic when it comes to that? All right, I can see everybody is raising their hands up. So let's all say the truth. It's not all the time that you'll be fantastic when it comes to time management. Sometimes you can run behind schedule, but the truth is when we run behind schedule, we get overwhelmed. So how do you handle those situations when you are stressed because you have missed a deadline? And how do you ensure it does not become an habit and something frequent that you don't do? It's about understanding that every task does not have the same attention or require the same time to do it. Sometimes we underestimate how long it takes us to do something, or we overestimate. When we underestimate the work involved, we are not going to meet time. So, part of time management is understanding task management, understanding that tasks all have different weight, different attention, and different speed. That helps you to stay on schedule. Sometimes I start with the end in mind. So I'll tell you something. When planned to do the reset, it was in April, and I started with the end in mind. So I dedicated it to people, and they were not doing it the way I wanted. I broke it down into more by a bite size. It still wasn't working out, but I was already working out behind the scenes because I'm like, 1st of July, I must do this thing no matter what. Then I got another speaking engagement that day. How was I able to manage both? Because I said, you know what, I'm not going to be perfect for any. I'm just going to show up. And that's exactly what I did. Managing time and staying on schedule requires practice. It requires your attention. It's not something you can do by accident. It's something you have to be intentional about. So it's not something that you say, okay, maybe I will. You have to plan. You have to know yourself. Are you someone that is a slow eater? Are you someone that is a fast eater when it comes to doing your task? Are you someone that needs more time to reflect? Or are you someone that can just go with the flow? How do you work? How well do you know yourself? Time management is about task management, understanding the person doing that task, aka you. Understanding whether you're slow with certain things or you're faster with certain things. Understanding your tools and resources that you have. Do you have a laptop that is hanging and all the keyboards are done? Or do you have the internet speed that is as slow as a snail? When you understand the tools at your disposal, you can now plan. So having developing these habits of this, and I can tell you have a morning routine, have a night routine, but when you're answering these questions and you see that you're getting 11, it shows that there is something that you need to fix, and the only person that can fix it is you, no one else. Next, how do you approach tackling challenging tasks or projects? I think I've spoken about task management, but do you procrastinate? Are you someone that says, "Oh, I will do things later"? This are the type of people that we have. When we have a tough task, we blame the tools. We blame the people on our team. We blame the boss for not explaining it well. We blame the clients. We blame every single person and we just want to avoid it. So there's this avoidance that we have when it comes to challenging projects. A project that is taking your attention, a project that challenges every single thing that you've learned. It could be dealing with a challenging client, dealing with so much going on with the exchange rate and different things, and you are just overwhelmed. So when you're overwhelmed, what do you do? Do you know how you act when you're overwhelmed? Have you sat down to reflect on the past events, the past 6 months, the past 1 year? What happened when I was overwhelmed? When COVID came, what happened when I got overwhelmed with COVID? Have you had time to reflect on all these things in order for you to understand how you work, not how someone else works? Because if you're someone that keeps blaming everybody but not seeing the role you play, you're going to procrastinate, even if it's a simple project. So when it comes to challenging projects, if you can handle challenging projects or you procrastinate on others, then you have to understand, why do you always push things to later? What can be done today? Today is more of a reflective session. Like I said, I want you to go back and think about this. I want you to listen to this video again and ask yourself those difficult questions that you cannot answer. I really want you to be the best version of yourself. But the only way to be the best version of yourself is to be honest. If you are at the place where most of your answers are A today, 1 year from today, they shouldn't be, because you can change. But if you feel that, oh, I don't need this, I already know what to do, and you come with that mindset, then you're not going to unlearn the things you need to unlearn and grow. Growth is important. We need to grow. We need to improve the things we get, the way we get things done. We need to always invest in ourselves first before others. So, in your own words, not based on these three options. Let's have a few seconds and everybody write in your journal, write on your phone, write somewhere. How do I approach challenging tasks or projects? So when it comes to challenging tasks and projects, I go heads on first. I go deep first before I think, or I reflect first before I move, or I move first. I take time to move. What do you do? I go to the wise people for counsel. I Google. What do you do when you have a challenge? So we're going to do 30 seconds of silence to give you time to respond to that question. I think 30 seconds is over. So let me know if you've responded in your journal. No. How do you handle stress and pressure in a fast paced environment? As for me, this one, stress and I don't agree. We don't work well together. But when I face it, when I see it, I face it, but I avoid it and I intentionally try to create a slow paced environment as an introvert. But sometimes I'm thrown into the world that is fast paced. I'm thrown into a client's den that is fast paced. I'm thrown into opportunities that are faster than I can handle. So what do I do when I have a brain that is faster than normal, but a body that wants to slow down? How do I combine this? Do I just feel overwhelmed and stressed and this impacts my performance? I manage stress to some extent, but it affects my productivity. Or I handle stress with well and maintain productivity under pressure. Whatever your answer is, if it comes to stressful situations, what are the things that trigger you? Are you triggered by the way people approach projects? Do you get angry when people are not doing what they're supposed to do? Do you get frustrated when your team members are not pulling their weight? You are under stress already and everything that is supposed to go right goes wrong. How do you handle stress? You need to know these things in order to be productive, in order to leverage your skills. What I want you to do is do a deep reflection of yourself. I don't like stress at all. I don't like pressure. I don't like putting it on people, but sometimes I do because when I start working, I work very fast. I'm a workaholic. That one, I can't get away from it. What about you? Are you an A, a B, and a C? And wherever you fall, write why. If you want to take screenshots of these questions so you can answer them later, let me know. You can take them. If you want me to provide the PDF with these questions, I can do that also for you because I want you to go back and reflect. The next one is, how do you seek feedback or support to improve your productivity? A bad day for your ego is a good day for your soul. That's one of my favorite quotes. A bad day for my ego is a good day for my soul. When it comes to receiving feedback or criticism, that's something I have struggled with as a retired people pleaser. I never used to like getting feedback from people. But now I am working and learning I'm wearing my emotions on my sleeve. I am able to go into places and be on the hot seat and allow people critique what I have done. But sometimes it's not easy. So how often do you seek feedback? And this is what I do. I'm part of an accountability group. I did a TikTok video today with my one of my accountability partners, my business bestie. And then I have Tobichuku and the rest of my team to tell me when I'm going astray. I have my coach and mentor, Victor. I have surrounded myself. I have created a system for myself with people that can encourage me and give me the feedback that I need with love, because there are some times that we seek feedback from people and the way they talk to us, it breaks us completely, that we don't want to receive feedback from others. So yes, it's good to seek feedback. You should have formed the habit of seeking feedback. However, seek feedback from the right people, because everybody falls into A at one point in time. We avoid seeking feedback or support, fearing criticism or judgment. But we need to create that supportive environment for ourselves. That's what we're building with the commitment circle. Create that supportive environment that is committed to your own growth and development, not just to creating numbers. There are some coaches that we can't work with. There are some coaches that I will not work with. I won't mention name, but I will not work with them because the way they speak to people, I can't take it. What can you take when it comes to receiving criticism and feedback? Are you someone that wants to, yeah, tell me the way it is, no matter what they say? I'm going to listen to the message. I'm not going to listen to the messenger. Or are you someone that is emotionally not able to handle criticism because of past trauma? Where do you stand? These things are simple, but they're not easy because it's about understanding yourself. It's about paying attention to you. And we don't sit down silently with ourselves. We don't. We're always in a hurry. We're looking for the next thing going viral. Everybody's trying to make money online. And we have forgotten that, yes, our creative gifts, sometimes we're just created to be a blessing to us. But we've monetized everything and we've monetized our whole lives. That we've monetized our silence, even to the fact that we cannot sit down silently with ourselves. So this is a sober Tuesday. We're calling it the sober Tuesday because I want everybody to go and reflect. All right, last one. How often do you celebrate your achievements, no matter how small? This is something that we should encourage. This is something we should incorporate. It's not the easiest thing because sometimes we want to see the end result. Remember, we said some people measure goals based on certain milestones, some people measure it based on results. So, how do you measure goals? If you can't remember what I'm talking about, go back and listen to that series. But how do you measure your goals? Are you the person that wants to achieve everything before you celebrate? Or are you the person that kinds to celebrate small milestones? The problem with giving a blanket approach to everything and saying everybody must do this is that we have different personalities, different cultures, different families, different things that have influenced the way we walk and the way we see life. So if we do not do it the way we are supposed to, we will not get the results. So that's why I'm not trying to, I'm not saying a blanket approach of this is what you must do. I'm saying this is what you could do, and this is what you should be doing. Then you tailor it to suit yourself. But from what I have observed, celebrating small wins works. It may be an acquired taste for certain people, but that brings us to the end of the listing, the quiz. Now, why did we go through that deep exercise and deep reflection? Because we have to understand that productivity is a journey of continuous improvement. It's not just once, it's continuous improvement. Someone should please write continuous improvement so I know that people are still listening and people are not just sobbing somewhere. But it's continuous improvement. It's about you seeking to always be the best version of yourself. It's about you always being honest with yourself. It's about you being bored sometimes so that you can listen to what your body and your creative gifts are telling you. Sometimes we don't sit with ourselves because we are busy. Yes, it's a lot easier for me to talk about the habit of sitting silently and writing because I am single. For those with kids, it's about us finding out the ways to create time to do these things, whether it's hiding in the car, whether it's doing something, but that alone time helps you reflect and think. I know children don't give you that opportunity. But if they don't, then work with what you have. Being silent is not just about being in a quiet place only. It's also in your mind. It's also in your mind. Sometimes our minds are so busy that we fail to shut down. So, productivity is a continuous journey, not a destination. Now, when it comes to focus, after we've spoken about all these things, what are the things that make you focus? I need you to identify what makes you focus and what motivates you. Are you motivated by a check? Are you motivated by the fact that you're adding value to society? Are you motivated by your spiritual calling? What motivates you? Who are the people that motivate you? Make a list. I love lists. Make a list. Write things down. You can use your notes app. You can write on paper, but make a list. Because if we look at the things that have distracted us, which is what we've written before, we need to also look at the things that help us maintain focus. And what happens when we have lack of motivation? We need to also do that. We've talked a little bit about time management strategies, so I won't really go into that. But when it comes to managing your time and managing your resources, you need to have a strategy. And for me, I talk about respecting time. I'll repeat what I said before. Time management is about you management. It's about respecting your time and others' time. It's about understanding that time management is not just about knowing that, oh, my project is due 2 o'clock, but it's knowing that this project is due 2 o'clock on a Friday and it's going to take me 8 hours to complete based on the task and based on my ability, based on my skills. But I won't complete this task on my own. I need XYZ. So you're going to take all those people into consideration when you are working on that goal. That's how to manage time. It's not just about understanding that I need to manage time. Go beyond the knowledge. Everybody here knows we should manage time properly. Every single person here is aware of the fact that time has to be managed. Let's go beyond talking about it and taking action. So, what are your time management strategies? How do you spend your day? What do you do? How do you manage your tasks? Do you meet deadlines? Do you surpass expectations? Are you overwhelmed when it comes to managing time? Where do you stand? We're not going to take another quiz, but this is what I will say. I'll say you should share your go-to time management strategies in your stories and that we can learn from each other or in the comments. But you should also be able to unlearn time management strategies that are unhealthy. Most people miss deadlines because they don't know how much time it takes them to complete certain tasks. So overestimate sometimes and say it takes me 5 hours, even if it takes you 1 hour, you can now go through the task and ensure that it is done properly. But managing time starts with you. And this is another thing. I was talking to Emma a little bit today and talking to her about something I created that has to do with different energy levels when it comes to getting things done. And I was talking to her about the fact that I am working on a different morning routine, and the morning routine I am working on is going to help me work with different energy levels. Now, what do I mean? Some people are night bird owls, some people are morning birds, right? Yes. Some people work better at night, some people work better during the day. Some people can have full focus energy midday, some people cannot. Where do you stand? Do you know your energy circles? Do you know that, okay, sometimes I can do deep work in the morning and then I can do relaxed work in the evening? I can do my major tasks in the morning, I can do my minor task in the evening. What is your energy level? So based on that, I decided to come up with a new routine for myself because I realized that my energy is different every single day. It's different. But when you're able to plan with that in mind, you are more productive. So what I did was, and it's something I have started, I said, okay, I will have 5 different types of energy levels when it comes to my morning routine. And I want to have the day where I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. I'm okay. I wake up alert and boom, I'm out of bed. There are days where I have low energy. There are days where I'm hyper. There are days where I have a flare up. There are days where I have recovery. All these days are different. So if I have just one blanket morning routine, it's not going to work. I want you to do the same thing for yourself. I want you to sit down today and plan your morning routine depending on the way you feel. After a work week on a Saturday, is your morning routine the same with Sunday? Is it this? What makes it different? What day are you rushing out of the house? Can you do something that will prevent you from rushing out of the house so you can wake up relaxed? So I come up with an acronym for my morning routine, but I will share that with you another day because I'm still working on it. But when it comes to procrastination and distractions, it's not something that we can neglect and push to the side. We've done a lot of that. We've said we'll face it later. I will do it later. Later is not a time on the calendar, the dictionary, or the clock. It is not. Quote me any day, anytime. Show me a clock that says later. No, it doesn't work. You have to be able to say, this is when I will do it and keep that commitment to your commitment. Sometimes we make commitments to ourselves and we don't keep it. Why? We need to make commitments to ourselves and keep those commitments. So, how do you avoid procrastination? Make a commitment to yourself. And sometimes we all have to understand that we have to unite. So, procrastinators, we have united. Now that we've united, we are unitedly deciding that we're not going to procrastinate anymore. So we have to talk about our secret weapon to combat procrastination. If anybody has a secret weapon, send me a DM and I will share it with people if you don't want to share. But my secret weapon to procrastination is just showing up even if I don't want to. I did not want to show up for this evening, but I had already told Emmanuel to create a flyer. I know I have to do 10 episodes in July. Today was just not my day. I had to take painkillers. I had to do quite a lot of things. That's why you saw that flare up there. When I have a flare up, it means my system my symptoms are worse. I just don't want to do anything. But I had to push through. I was like, okay, I will do 10 minutes today, but I've done 44 minutes. I'm supposed to be here 45 minutes. So I've done well. Procrastination is something that is an habit that we have formed. So it has to be an habit that we unform. But what are we going to replace procrastination with? What you need to do, my secret weapon is don't tell anybody. Identify where you procrastinate. Replace those habits with habits that you know that you will do. Start small. So if you procrastinate when it comes to praying, for example, and you find yourself on your phone, so it's to put your phone on do not disturb and charge your phone in another room so that you are able to pray. It's just giving yourself cues, routines, rituals that will ensure that you do what you say you will do. It's about self-discipline and self-accountability. It's about understanding that it's about understanding that you have to motivate yourself. You have to monitor yourself. No one is going to do it for you. The way to beat procrastination is to be willing to beat procrastination and then to beat procrastination. It's to understand why you procrastinate, where you procrastinate, when you procrastinate, and then fill these gaps. We're not leaving these gaps unmonitored. We're not leaving these gaps empty. We are filling them up with tasks, with activities, with things that propel us to do the things that we want to do. So, just to recap, we've talked about goal setting and prioritization. We've talked about task management. We've talked about procrastination. We've talked about habits, having good habits. And what I will say is all this is it starts with you. It starts with you understanding that no one is coming to rescue you. No one is coming to make you more productive, especially when it comes to doing the things that you've told yourself you will do that you didn't tell any other person. There are certain things that we want to do as entrepreneurs, as people, that even if we don't do it, nobody is going to know, but we are going to know. How to break bad habits is to start keeping that commitment to yourself. Start doing what you say you will do. Create your own personal productivity system. Track your progress. Ensure that you're tracking your progress, doing those monthly, weekly, daily reflections so that you know that you are on track. And once you find out you're off track, you can get back on track. Be kind to yourself, practice gratitude, and above all, stay productive. All right. I think it's 2 minutes past my time. So I'm going to bid you good night. If you have any questions, please send me a DM. The next session is on Thursday by 8 p.m. We'll let you know. Esther, please tell Emmanuel it's 8 p.m., not 9 p.m. So the next session is Thursday by 8 p.m. Tomorrow is a self-reflection exercise. So you're going to listen to this episode again, the time we're supposed to have this session, and carry out the task that we have talked about in this session. So you can create that time to reflect. But for now, I bid you good night. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.